Hi coaches, another little video today, and Tom Kerry has posted in the group about homework and how that's been really helpful for him. And what I wanted to do was just share with you some of the resources that I share with my clients, and I'd be really interested to hear from yourselves around your view and if you do this or whether you find this useful. But one thing that I found when I started coaching was for my clients to get more value out of the conversations we had and more value to get out of the coaching that we did together, it was helpful to supplement the conversations we had, which pointed to the three principles, with them going off and doing their own exploration, their own learning. And so what I do is I tend to share books with clients, and I've got my favorite books behind me, or some of my favorite books behind me to share with clients who specifically are interested in learning more about state of mind or learning about the principles. So when I first started, I used this book, and this is my little secret tip, my little technique that I did when I first started coaching and got my first client on a series of sessions a few years ago. And I didn't really have a curriculum. And so what I did was I took this book, Jamie's book on clarity, and I opened it up and I found that it had 24 chapters. So I was like, okay. And what I did was put together a package for the client of 8 sessions. And so my real quick method, if you like, was to say, read 3 chapters of the book and then we'll have a conversation. And this way we split it up into 8 sessions, and it was a real easy curriculum, if you like, for the client to read something about the principles and then for us to have a conversation about it. I actually didn't use that again, but it's a tip that you guys can use if it's useful to you. And I actually don't send this book anymore to people very much. I actually prefer Jamie's new book, Little Book of Clarity. The other thing I wanted to mention was that not everyone, I find, resonates with the same author. So one thing I found is people generally, and this is not a rule, but generally I found that people either like Little Book of Clarity or Clarity, or they like Michael Neill, because they're two very different styles of writing, very different ways to approach the principles. So I tend to send both to clients. If I've got a client specifically who is having some relationship problems, this book by George Pransky, The Relationship Handbook, is my favourite book to send. That's probably the book I've bought the most of any book for clients and prospective clients. Fantastic book. I don't know anyone that's read it that hasn't got something out of it and hasn't improved their relationships. I recently started sending Somebody Should Have Told Us by Jack Pransky. That's only because it took me a while to get around to reading it because of all the principles books that are out there. And I really like it for coaches because there are a few places in the book where Jack is talking about him working with a client, and he's quite blunt. He's quite to the point in when he's helping people to see through their misunderstanding. And that really resonated with me, and I think it's a really great book for coaches to read who are sharing the principles, because I had an impression that sharing the principles was being very nice to people and just getting into a lovely feeling. But in that book I saw kind of how Jack really cuts through sometimes people's ego, and it's very helpful for them. And then finally, this little book here, Island of Knowledge, isn't yet out. I've been told it's going to be out at the end of this month, and that's the first book that was written about the principles by Linda Quiring. I'm going to buy a copy of that book for every single client that I've got, because I think it really points to really the essence of the principles, even before they were called the 3 principles. So here are a few just of my favourite books that I share with clients. I'd love to hear what you guys share. This isn't an exhaustive list. I've got a whole load of other books that I share as well, but I wanted to create this video to let people know that I do it. I think it's really helpful. People get a lot out of it because they get insights in between our calls, and it's really great to support the community, and you never know where the books end up in different people's hands as well. So that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts, comments and questions below.